It's really about celebrating the maximal blessing that humanity could ever embrace and actualize the planet that we have in our hearts. We hold the vision of how perfect and balanced, harmonious, divinely inspired things can be. So we're going to take you through today on the academic aspects of why it is that we're going to hold the concert with the living water. What is it that we're doing? We're going to, if I do my job, demystify what 528 Hertz frequency is, where it comes from, how we got it, and its relevance to the urgencies of this planet. Addressing the problems, solving the pollution, solving the major psychosocial, behavioral, geopolitical dilemmas that we face as a global village. The most amazing thing is what Leonardo da Vinci left behind, which is the Vitruvian woman, and I'll be sharing a bit about that as it relates to this concept of there being a perfect circle of sound and there being a map that maps out, guides us to divine human communion for the masses, that we could be all that we could be, that we were meant to be, to fulfill our destiny, to be these absolutely powerful co-creators. So if there were a couple of study materials that I would recommend for the average layperson, read the book Love, The Real Da Vinci Code, and the documentary DVD. It's an experimental, edutaining information, narration, and graphics presentation, 2 hours, called The Love Code, and that will reinforce what I'm sharing with you today in a major way. And once you have it sink in, and once it settles in your heart will be completely uplifted with the blessing of the revelation and the power in them. We don't have time to dwell, as we have dwelled for so long, about the bad news. And so we're really at a crossroads about focusing on what is positive, what is good, because focusing on what's not good hasn't helped. It hasn't changed. You have not seen this Leonardo da Vinci drawing. So from Da Vinci's time to the present, there's nothing new under the sun to show you that geopolitically, economically, financially, manipulation of the population has not changed significantly. And this is a Da Vinci drawing that never made it into the coffee table version that you can buy at Barnes & Noble bookstore of the, quote, complete works of Leonardo da Vinci. It's not in there. And it's not in there because it relays the truth that should set us free, shall set us free. It's like a light into the darkness. Light dispels the darkness. Truth is that way. And so here you have a picture of the bull, a pagan symbol that has been, over the past centuries, adopted as the symbol for the Roman Catholic Church. It's from Baal, the pagan god of fertility, and this is a symbol of having the church deliver the tree of life over the stormy waters to the shores controlled globally by the royalty of Europe. And so this is the geopolitics and the economics of war and manipulation, coercion, enslavement of global populations at the time of Da Vinci. That's why you do not see that in today's complete works of Da Vinci, so-called. Nothing has changed. We're still dumbed down, manipulated, coerced, enslaved at will by those who control the geopolitical systems. And that's literally a behavior manipulation by the propaganda mechanisms of the mass media. They have literally been able to engage, entrain, anchor the mass population through the anchor men in the news media to fear and the status quo. So the concept of coming out of that involves more of a heart to realize there's a discrepancy, there's an emotion, there's a real sense of something really is imbalanced about where we are that is really appropriate for what a normal human being engages. And to the extent that these are children and our children's children, future generations on this planet, have already been enslaved, have already been manipulated, have already been killed genocidally, globally, we, the people who have some semblance of sanity and reason and a heart filled with love and an inner vision that we can create something better than this, that's what's compelling to us, and that's why we're here today for Live H2O. And so coming out of that, like Yeshua, Jesus' Hebrew name, Yeshua, said, "Come out of her, my people, lest she be infected by her plagues." He also said that the kingdom of heaven is near. The solution is seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Then all else will come to you. That's what this concept of having a concert played in the music of the matrix, the musical mathematical matrix, which in the religious world is called the kingdom of heaven, is the only solution. The word solution implies water, the universal solvent. So this is what we've got to do. We're compelled as loving human beings, reasonable, rational human beings, to move towards this solution, not this intoxication. The end to this vaccination, iatra, genocide, intoxication mentality, where somehow we're at war with everything. Antibiotics, anti-biology, instead of probiotics, instead of looking at water literally as the universal solvent that can supply everything from hydrogen fuel that can eliminate all the pollution and the petrochemical waste, to looking at how water and hydrosonics is the most profoundly important field in healthcare, and may, in fact, do away with 90% of medicine as we know it today. Simple understanding about water as the solution, the universal solvent, and this concept that if we know love is the universal healer, and if we know already that music is the universal language, then it makes complete sense to use water, the universal solvent, to solve the pollution, to solve the problem. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Solve pollute. To solve the problem with music and love and water. That's what this whole concept of a concert for the living waters is about. It's very simple. And so, please, at minimum, pray. We're going to talk about how powerful that is. If you already don't know what that's about, we're going to share some revelations today that share with you why I'm asking you, as my sister, as my brother, to pray for the success of us having everything, and it's already happening. The information I'm going to share with you now is just that. It's the key to the house of David that opens doors that no man can close, that the Bible talks about in the end times shall be revealed, literally to fulfill the long heralded concert for the 144,000 Revelation 14:1 talks about. 144,000 humble servants of the Creator gather in the end times to sing a new song with new musical notes in such a way as to instantaneously and miraculously deliver this entire planet spiritually, electromagnetically, vibrationally back to where we should be, which is the Garden of Eden. Heaven on earth. The perfect circle of sound revelations that I'm about to share started in 1998 with Dr. Joseph Paleo, who was recently passed away, but has left us as a gift. His most important life work, he was searching for the original musical scale. He was searching for the solfeggio by which the hymn to St. John the Baptist, the most spiritually uplifting hymn of all the ages, was sung. And he couldn't find it. After having gone to every place that he could possibly go, including to the Roman Catholic Church, he was a devout Catholic. He was turned down. He was not able to get anywhere. So he prayed. And he prayed to Yeshua. He called him Jeshua. And one night, Jesus came to him next to a huge angel. And this is how the book Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse really begins. And they showed him in the Bible, in the book of Numbers, chapter 7, verses 12 through 83. And I go through this in my earlier work. I go through it in the book Healing Codes, and I go through it in the Healing Codes DVD. You can see in the Bible that those verse numbers, there's something bizarre about repeating verses in that section of the Bible that's unlike any other portion of the Bible. And it's right in there that the verse numbers hold the repeating frequencies of the 6 original solfeggio notes. So that was my first introduction to this concept that there's a different musical scale that humanity is not tuned to anymore. And then I was in Hawaii, and it was the first week that we were now taking stewardship of a magnificent estate that is being stewarded by the royal bloodline of David at this point, that is a sacred Hawaiian grounds. And I was called by people who were operating as producers for a physics and mathematics symposium, and they called us for having us open our facilities to a conference with some experts in mathematics and physics. And one of the first people that presented was a man by the name of Marco Rodin, a brilliant mathematician. And Rodin presented this very simple mathematical pattern that he teaches children. He calls it the infinity pattern. He says that it relates to God's signature being found on everything, because everything evolves out of the math. And he says, okay, well, how do you figure this one? How do you get this diagram? Well, 1 and 1, if you start at the 1, 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 is 8, so you draw a line up to the 8. 8 and 8 is 16, where 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 and 7 is 14, where 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 and 5 is 10, where 1 plus 0 is 1. You see, you have a repeating pattern to infinity. It's a double-winged type structure that, interestingly enough, when you lay it out over the Vitruvian woman drawing, what you've got is the energy vortices and the vectors of energy coming together right at the reproductive area. And that later on I'm going to show you how this relates to this concept of genetic structuring and structuring of everything in the sacred spiral of life. Da Vinci studied this spiraling. He studied it because and we know that because he has old man water drawing where you have an image of a Moses-looking character with his staff stuck down into the water, and it's spiraling. Moses' name, by the way, means saved by the water. Da Vinci was connected somehow to the one mind, to the universal mind. how he could still maintain, despite seeing the worst of the worst, the geopolitics of genocide in his age, still have the heart and the love to express in the divine art, such as St. John the Baptist artwork by Da Vinci. And look at the smile, look at the hope in the face of John the Baptist, who did what? With Jesus, Jesus went to John before he really began his healing ministry today called Christianity. It's called the way back then. It was a sect of Judaism. And it started with baptism, water baptism. The concept of water will be reinforced as the creative juice of the universe. And this concept of hydrosonics, energetics, spiritual dynamics, vibration in water for the manifestation of everything, not just your physical body and being, but everything, will put a smile on your face, just like John. So this concept of water throughout the ages, from Da Vinci and before, Moses parting the waters, Jesus walking on the waters, it has everything to do with the musical, mathematical matrix of creation. In the beginning, water was there when God was there. From the moment there was God, there was water. Even before there was the Word. What is word but sound? What is sound but electromagnetic frequencies? What's that? Simply mathematics. And so there was the water. Part of the triune God was the water. Genesis 1 through 6 says, in the beginning there was a creator, there was the water, and then, before there was a word still, that means before there was even the frequency vibrations of the articulation of the math, before that there was the Holy Spirit. The Spirit, the spirituality that was of the Creator that flowed into the water and divided the water from the water. Now, when you have ever tried to divide water from the water, what you get is wet, and that's about it. But if you're a quantum physicist, you divide water from water, now you're getting into the subatomic particle realm. You're getting into the quantum field. You're getting into the energy dynamics and the mathematics of how everything is spinning and spiraling. And that the fractal, spiraling universe, it's not square fractals, everything's round. Everything's round. It's all round. Music, the universal language. Here's what Da Vinci had to say about the importance of math. Quote, there is no certainty where one cannot apply any of the mathematical sciences. Universal certainty, therefore. Divine human unity, powerful co-creativity is established by math. The road to finding oneself, including your highest qualities and greatest creative potentials, is paved by mystery school math engaging the matrix. What is a matrix? It's not a movie coming from Hollywood where Neo jumps in between states of consciousness and dodges bullets. Webster's defines matrix as something within or from which something else originates, develops or takes form, a rectangular array of numbers, algebraic symbols, or mathematical functions. Matrices play intimate roles in every aspect of life. The word is found several times in the Bible, in Exodus and in Numbers. Moses bade sacrifice to the Lord all that openeth the matrix. This was done so that the Hebrews could be freed. God said, everything that openeth the matrix in all flesh shall be thine. What a gift. Freedom, particularly in this era of enslavement. From that hospital injection, from birth to grave, manipulation, coercion, enslavement. What kind of a life is that for a full, complete, powerful co-creator? So this is the essence of where it comes out of. This is why I say there is a musical, mathematical matrix out of which all great things can come and do come all the time. All the creation is coming out of this musical mathematical matrix that the religious world calls the kingdom of heaven. Can you imagine Yeshua, Jesus, trying to teach his disciples about the mathematics of this at his age? No. So there's metaphors that are used for this understanding, and we're bringing the scientific revelation to the ancient scriptural understandings. So this is where we're now currently evolving to this understanding. This understanding that language is the creative instrument. The lips are the principal creative instrument. Language is the music of creation. Every single word. Consumerism. We've all bought into this concept. To be a good American, to get the American dream, you've got to be good consumers. Pull the word apart. What do you got? Con. Sum. Shun. The sum total of that is a con. Instead of production and creation, we're consuming and degenerating, destroying, polluting. It's a con job. Sum total con. They used to call consumption, the word used to mean deadly disease. Words, language, creation, intimately connected. God said, let there be light. Into the water, out came the sun. So in 1998, we started to pull the veil off of this deception under which we live. This whole understanding that music and mathematics is God's language for creation. And we are powerful co-creators because we were created in the image, we're told. The image could mean imagination, vision, internal, heartfelt, loving intent to create, manifest a vision of a better way, of a healthier body, of a sane, optimally functioning world. A vision, an internal vision. Created how? Through the spoken word. You're created in the image of the Creator. It's, by the way, it's not just the single Creator. You look carefully at the Torah. You look at the Bibles. It said the gods. There were gods. There was a head honcho, mover and shaker. The major Creator says to his friends, the gods with the little g's, he says, let's create man in our image. The Elohim. And so you were created literally with the creative technology that the Creator has. That is the labiatum, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, the lips, creative instruments. And so this understanding brings terrific opportunity to show you that the English alphabet was constructed with intelligence, with certainty, to manipulate and incarcerate and enslave humanity maximally. Dr. Palaio left us with this understanding. If you take A to Z, the alphabet of the English language with 26 letters, and then you realize there's only 9 numbers in the Creator's universe. The zeros are placeholders, man-made creation of a mathematical system. So there's 1 through 9 is all she wrote in the Creator's math. So you got 1 through 9, 1 through 9, 1 through 8 for your letters. And then Dr. Palaio stumbled upon, if you take the words faith, trust, and God, they're all 8s. The infinity sign. And it was Plato, Pythagoras, Aristotle. It was Nikola Tesla, last century's greatest genius, who said if humanity only knew the power of the 3s, 6s, 9s, and 8s, it would be a completely different universe. That's a Tesla quote. So you take the multiples of 8s. For example, and you begin to see something extraordinary pop out. Those of you in the room who have experienced an increase in spiritual evolution, where you're engaged in this spiraling, this exponentially accelerating synchronicity of miracle manifestation in your own lives. It's mathematically multiplying. You take the multiples at 8. 1 times 8 equals 8. 2 times 8 equals 16, where 1 plus 6 is 7. 3 times 8 equals 24, where 2 plus 4 is 6. 4 times 8 equals 32, where 3 plus 2 is 5. You see the countdown pattern. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 6, 5, 5. It's the English alphabet backwards. And to show you the perfection and the intelligence in the system, when you take the English alphabet backwards and add it to the English alphabet forwards, you always come up with 9 completion. 8 plus 1 is 9, 7 plus 2 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9. So someone applied certainty and intelligence and mathematics to language in the 1400s, when Da Vinci started to read backwards and write backwards. Now look at these numbers here. 6, X, 6, O, 6, F, O, X, Fox, television, brings you what? 666. Where do we use X's and O's? How else can we spell 666? You ever play tic-tac-toe? Play with X's and O's. At the end of the game, you got 666, 666, 666. 6 times 9 is 54. 5 plus 4 is 9. Completion, game over. You ever sign your little letters? At the bottom, X's and O's, kisses and hugs. How about this one? This was a great affirmation for Babylonian lunacy. I learned it when I was a child. I wonder how many people in this room did the same thing. Remember, cross my heart, hope to die, and you cross this finger, X, cross these fingers, X, and you cross your heart, X, X, X. What an affirmation that is. Cross my heart, hope. Cross my heart. The seat of loving, powerful, creative intelligence. Cross it. 666. Now, it's everywhere. It's everywhere you look. You've seen this logo before, haven't you? Do you see any numbers here? No, you don't. You don't see any numbers in the Pepsi logo. It's right in front of your face. Look, backwards. 12939. It's a 6. It adds to a 6. Tesla, what he said, what Da Vinci's mentors talked about with the multiples. Why is 3 6s and 9s different? Prove Tesla, what he said, what Da Vinci's mentors talked about with the multiples. Why is 3 6s and 9s different? Multiples of 3, 6, 9s always give you 3 6s and 9s. That's why it's different. No other numbers do that. And like I will share with you and show you, there's harmonic triads that open the vortices to the spiritual domains through the 3 6s and 9s. We are spiritual beings first. We come out of the energy of love. This is the technology for the manifestation of that divine inspiration of creation, and then we co-creation. So what were the beautiful notes that Dr. Paleo discovered? So ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la, you see they all involve 3 6s and 9s, frequencies. And again, where did we get these frequencies? Well, again, you're welcome to go back into what we did back in 10 years ago now. 1998, published the book Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse. The verse numbers were placed in there by the people that translated the original Torah into Greek Septuagint, but they're ancient. This is ancient, sacred, secreted, mystery school knowledge that all have to do with the 3, 6s, and 9s. Now, let's go through these definitions and you'll see. Ut means, first note, 396, means the entire scale or range, a gamut of dramatic emotion from grief to joy. The whole series of recognized musical notes. Do you understand what we've just said in that one note, the first note? Everything. It's like, advertising agencies and artistic creator musicians and artists, they want to have you have an emotional connection, have an emotional expression to whatever it is. So the entire range of dramatic emotion from grief to joy and the entire series of musical notes that are elicited is in that one note. Now look at this. It's also a unit of magnetic field strength equal to 10 to the 5th power Gauss. That's 100,000. 10 to the 5th is 100,000. What's missing in regard to the Revelation 14:1 for 144,000 concert is 44,000. What number is 4 plus 4? 8. The Creator's number. So this concept of there being a concert in concert with Creator, and that it essentially is Christian theology, the bride coming up, maturing to the level of being conscious enough, awake enough, loving enough to take on this project, this beginning times project, which heralds the Messianic age, 1,000 years of world peace, where the lion lies down with the lamb, starts with this understanding of the musical mathematics. Second note, ut re, the 417 Hertz frequency that is very easy for musicians all over the world right now to tune to. The Korg black chromatic tuners tune to 417, down from 440. What does it mean? What is this note? A vibration. This is quote from Webster's dictionary. Quote, a vibration of large amplitude in a mechanical or electrical system caused by a relatively small periodic stimulus whose frequency is close to the same, or a natural vibration, same or nearly the same period as the natural vibration period of the system. Quote, a larger than normal vibration produced in response to a stimulus whose frequency is close to the natural frequency of the vibrational system. In other words, a small, periodic stimulus whose frequency, energy, mathematical vibration, is close to, so close to the natural frequency vibration of the larger, universal mechanical system, mechanical, stimulus response, mechanical system, that small, periodic stimulus that can come from you and you and you. As an individual, a small periodic stimulus has the capacity to produce a profound impact because it harmonizes, synchronizes with the matrix. It's also a quality of enriched significance. Is this significant? Is it rich significance? You bet it is. Profundity, is this profound? Yes. Or elusiveness, has it been elusive? Secreted, it has been elusive. Such as a poem has a resonance beyond its surface meaning. Also an action in answer to or intended to undo a situation. Are we in a situation here on planet Earth right now? Are we talking about how are we going to undo this? Or that performance of a new action that brings back an earlier state of affairs? Now you see it. We're going back to the Garden of Eden, to manifesting heaven on earth. That's the earliest state of affairs. Ut re. So me, miragistorum in Latin. You all know what miracles, the third note, 528. What it means. You know what a miracle is. But did you know that the 528 Hertz frequency is used by the world's leading military weapons technicians to tune their most sophisticated hardware with tuning forks like this? Did you know also that it's used by some of the world's leading genetic biochemists to repair damaged DNA? Well, you could say, well, that sounds weird. How can it do that? Simple. Because that's what the matrix does. The entire universe is spiraling. I'm going to show you where DNA gets its source. It's out of the math, out of the music of the spheres, out of the music of divinity, that it is coming into this perfect sacred spiral structure. Form does not follow function. That is absolute garbage. That's what we were all taught in medicine and physiology and anatomy. Form follows spirit. Mathematics, energetics. So this is a 528 tuning fork. Let's do an exercise. Let's do a little chant just of the Creator's name, Yah. How about just doing a Yah? Do you feel a resonance in your body that's a little bit purer than maybe most notes? Maybe if you're sensitive, might feel your heart resonating and your body going into an alignment, a higher order. Well, guess what? DNA is a sacred spiral. It's spinning and it's manifesting in its form because of the energy. The primary function of DNA is to serve as a receiver and transmitter of light and sound signals. In fact, the entire world of genetic science has been completely manipulated into ignorance. The whole field is focused on 3% of the function of DNA. We were told, and I even taught students at Tufts University School of Dental Medicine and histology and genetics that DNA serves as a template for protein synthesis. The amino acids that are called for by the sequence come and assemble at the ribosome, the protein manufacturing station of the cell, and out pops a new cell part, and out pops new cells. That's 3%, count it, 1, 2, 3% of the whole function of DNA, all of the world of science is focused on. And you know what they do? The Rockefeller industrialists that control genetics, along with George Soros and the Human Genome Project bandits, they claim and they have labeled, demonized the rest of the spiritual function. 93% of the function of DNA serves as an antenna to the Creator. They label that, quote, junk DNA. It's like God defecated all over your cells, take it to the dump. Junk DNA. That's the part of DNA. 93% of the function takes in light signals, photons, sound signals, phonons. And because of the water in and around the DNA, which is simply serving that sacred spiral as a Tesla coil to amplify and transmit the light and sound that is the spirit of the perfect mathematical matrix manifesting into you as a creation and manifesting you every milli-instant. Recreation. So that's the primary function of DNA. So given that, how can 528 heal DNA? Simple. you take, for example, you take this whole concept of cymatics, which is the study of sound's effects on matter. And you see, for example, here, you see hexagonal shapes, forms, routinely. It is the Star of David shape of snowflakes. It is the honeycombs that bees make. It's routinely seen. It is the carbon-6 organic chemistry ring for all of life. Why isn't it 7-sided? Why isn't it 4-sided? Why isn't it a square? It's a hexagon. Because the vibrational frequency resonance of 528 and the other perfect circle of sound frequencies, the core creative frequencies, are causing it to go into that shape. Just like you're being manifested in your shape because of the sacred geometrics of the mathematics. So the concept that you have a test tube with 2 broken strands of DNA and you hit it with the sound vibration of 528, it's been noted by the world's leading genetic biochemists that those 2 different broken strands start to vibrate, resonate, and then they come right together miraculously. Heal again. Repair. And this is in the music. There was Haydn's 96th symphony. It's called The Miracle. 9 plus 6 is 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. MI6. Miracle 6. MI6, you've just diagnosed how British Secret Service got its name. And when we're talking about DNA, we're talking about the purity of the bloodlines and the bloodlines of the Holy Grail. Now you're talking about how it is. What is the Holy Grail? We're going to show you what that Holy Grail really is all about. But what is the function, the primary purpose of the Gestapo of the Illuminati, the British royalty and the German banksters? What is the function of MI6 overseeing CIA? It's genocide, blood genocide, genetic manipulation of the population, and an old story back to the bloodlines, which the Creator told in the Old Testament, the Israelites, the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, you guys got a problem. I want you to go and kill these people because they're not for you, and they're not for us in our creation. And if you really want to do some in-depth Bible study, you go back into the story, it was very clear. Some of those small g's rebelled. G-O-D's rebelled. They were called Nephilim, the fallen angels. And that reptilian alien that came into the garden did more than persuade Eve to bite an apple. The seduction was sexual. Why else then would they cover their loins? The communication was orally. Why didn't she cover her ears? Why didn't they cover their eyes? He told her, there's the apple, look at it. Eat it. What was the shame? There was an impregnation. There was another baby. Study the Bible carefully. You'll see that these Nephilim, the fallen angels, outlived the flood. It's in Genesis. The flood came, the flood, solution, solve the pollution. Came because the Nephilim, the fallen angels, were coming, having sex with the daughters of men, changing the gene line. That was the last time the Creator really got angry with this planet. At the end, after making it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and look at Noah's ark built to the 3 6s and 9s. He said, I'm never going to do that again. So the restoration has to come from us through, again, the universal solvent, the water. That's what this whole concept of there being geopolitical, economic movers and shakers on this planet that have no heart for humanity. And that's why the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, always seem to be engaged in war. You divide the sheeple to conquer the flock. You divide the brothers and sisters through the manipulations and the illusions. Created by who primarily? Who funds the terrorist organizations? Who funded Osama bin Laden? It was the CIA operative. The Obama family, the bin Laden family. Freudian slip. It's got to be in the spirit. It's got to be real, right? The bin Laden family were principals in Carlyle Group. Major movers and shakers economically from all the war in the Middle East. So when you begin to trace these things from reputable historians and authors, you begin to realize, holy smoke, this is what's going on. We've got today the loving human beings, all the children of God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all religions covered. Religion, the word itself, is a tip-off. Religion, the legions of a pagan goddess. It's false. It's indoctrination. What did Jesus say? Yeshua said about, beware of the doctrines. Beware of the traditions of men. Make the word to no avail. Word, sound, frequency, resonance, divinity. You can't get there if you're engaged in that left brain dogmatic thinking. It's a heart function, a heart-mind opening, not a X over the heart, closing. So this is where you now begin to see the pure revelation of the musical mathematics in vibration, creation, this whole concept of us being powerful children of the Creator, brothers and sisters who have been brought here at this time to strategically plan the event that's going to bring the entire planet back to sanity and peace and fulfill destiny. It's already happened. We're engaged in the flow. You're here. You've been brought here by divine appointment. You've worked hard to get here. It hasn't been easy. You know what that means? You've been ransomed. You paid your dues. That's what the Bible talks about. Those who hold the Creator's name in the pineal gland, right here, the third eye, the spiritual gyroscope reorienting the species so that they can migrate thousands of miles without a road map and get right to where they're supposed to be, spiritually, electromagnetically. That's what this third eye is all about, the pineal gland function. To have the Creator's name, keep the name holy, keep it right clear, be pure, be dedicated to it, keep it right there. Guess what? That's who gets ransomed. That's who the 144,000 are. So here's some more scientific fact from the journal Science by currently at Harvard, previously at University of California, Berkeley, Ron Sakeley et al. Tells you what DNA is really all about. Shows you it's about the water, the living water. This is a study that studies structured water, clustered water they call it. Water clusters, what Dr. Emoto has been demonized by many people in the scientific community. Scientific idiots, ignorant people who think that they know, have been condemning Dr. Masaru Emoto for suggesting that water has consciousness, that water changes its structure when you pray over it. Gee whiz, what a horrible concept that is to those scientists that think they know it all. Concept of water actually responding and changing its structure because of this frequency, vibration, and heartfelt loving intention. My goodness, that makes the water, like I said earlier, part of the triune God, because angels and God responds to your heartfelt loving prayer, just like you as a parent would respond to your children's loving heartfelt requests. So this concept that's sacredly studied, he took DNA, measured the electrical conductivity, electrical potentials in negative terms, related to the oxidative reductive potentials of the water within the genetic strand, and showed these beautiful sacred spirals were very highly charged when they were well hydrated. But if you remove, he discovered, as little as 8%. 8. You remove God, you remove the triune God water from the DNA strand. That's what happens to the same. These are the same genetic strands. Here is the measures of electrical potential in the strand. Dramatically reduced. It went from negative 212, it's measured in negative 212 to negative 12. So a dramatic reduction in the energetic potential. That means the sound and light signals that create you, literally in every now, suddenly are no longer capable because you've removed God. You've removed the water, the creative juice. Concepts have profound, this whole understanding gives us a whole profound understanding of what the truth about DNA is. And the truth about who you are. Who are you now? Based on this knowledge. Best definition of who you are comes out of this knowledge. You are a digital, bioholographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation of divine frequency, vibration coming out of water. Let me give it to you again. You're a digital, that's a mathematical. Digital, mathematical. Bioholographic, biology, holography. You all know what a holograph is or what a hologram is. You're a digital bioholographic precipitation, like rain precipitates. It starts with a little small nidus, maybe a little charged particle that captures some more water in a cloud, suddenly builds up to a raindrop, and then precipitation falls to earth out of heaven. Precipitation, crystallization. You've all been in science classes where you take early experiments putting sugar in water or salt in water, and you stir it up, and if water's not warm enough, still some sugar there, so you heat it up some. And stir some more, and the sugar disappears. Where is it? It's still there. It's in another state. But now you cool the water down, and suddenly, crystal by crystal, the salt or the sugar precipitates out of the water, crystallizes out, and you see it again, manifest before your eyes. That's crystallization, miraculous manifestation. Why is this miraculous? Well, not only because it's using 528 Hertz frequency as a core creative frequency, but because the whole system is unbelievable, designed to perfection to the way it is beyond the reaches of the wildest human imagination. Can you imagine the perfection in all of what we see all around us, including our own being? Who designed this experiment? Wow! Miraculous. Coming out of water. Water is universal now. It's only the last couple of months that the NASA has been over and over giving press release after press release saying, we've discovered water all over the universe. They just found water in Mars. They saw snow and rain 3 weeks ago. It was on the national newspapers on Mars. Water is the universal solvent, and NASA has discovered it at the farthest reaches of the cosmos. You know, we give all this credit to our parents for giving you the blue eyes or the blonde hair that you have, right? Well, you know what? Yeah, you could thank your parents. You know how much? About 3%. But, you know, do we ever give thanks to the Creator that created us? Because right now, your parents may be long gone, but right now, every micro instant, your blonde hair, your blue eyes,
are getting recreated every every microsecond by this frequency vibration, spiritual connection right now that you still maintain with the source of all creation. And the administration technology, the administration mechanism is called the kingdom of heaven. In the religious world is the musical mathematical matrix composed of 9 notes. Only 9. Ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la are 6. This is, again, Dr. Emoto's work, where you can see, you can take what looks like raw sewage. This is a sample of what chlorinated and fluorinated drinking water anywhere in the world looks like. Raw sewage under a microscope. And you pray over it. And because you're powerful co-creators who are capable of producing miragistorum, miracles, you and I have the capacity to literally transform the living God. Jesus said, I am the living water. The word I am. Moses said, was told by God his name, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, I am that I am. Jesus said, I am the living water. 80% of your Holy Spirit-filled temple is the powerful co-creator. I have to honor you as a goddess, and you, my brother, as a god, because I honor the truth that shall set us free. That is, 80% of your Holy Spirit-filled temple is part of the triune God. So this whole concept brings a whole greater blessing and understanding for salvation, physical, and evolution, spiritual, consciousness, evolution, so that we can be all that we can be. We can manifest our destiny. What has been prophesied, this unfolding of this great shalom. Yisroel, the true meaning of Yisroel is not a besieged state in the Middle East. Yisroel means where the lion lies down with the lamb, where we have peace on earth, where we literally see and commune, have this communication, divine human communion. Who are we? Do, re, mi, fa. We are the fa. We are the family torum in Latin, or the family, the special servants, the humble servants or attendants of a scholarly or magical nature. Magic, magi, the ancient Levitical priesthood that had the capacity to turn lead to gold, alchemy, altering the chemistry from the electromechanics and the electron spins. What's our mission? Ut, re, mi, fa, sol. Solve pollute in Latin, solve the problem. Solve the dilemma, the pollution. Webster's defines it as, quote, to find an answer or an explanation, to clear up, to solve a mystery or a puzzle. Man, this has been puzzling. Got the world's brightest minds shaking their heads, don't know what to do with this planet. Work out an answer to or a solution. What does Webster say? What is this? What is the required solution? Answer or solution to a mathematical problem. It's a simple mathematical problem. Creation is a mathematical manifestation. Recreation is a mathematical question. And it's also a, quote, cleansing with water. Or a liquid, especially as a religious ritual. Take some time out every once in a while and say, you know what, Creator, Holy Heavenly Creator, thank you so much. You have been awesome in my life. It's a delight for me to be here with so many of my brothers and sisters who share that understanding, that appreciation, and do that routinely in verbal prayer. But you see, the technology that manifests the certainty of the divinity in our own lives is the labiatum, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, the labiatum, the lips. It's like the song, love to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. That's the mission. That's what the concert is all about. Getting everybody to vibrate in harmony with this evolution of the revelation for consciousness, higher level of understanding through the labiatum, the creative instruments. And all the people else who have contributed in meaningful ways, who have grasped the certainty of this intelligence and the wisdom of applying it for the solution, salve pollute. It's a done deal. As I said to you, the concert's already happened in the matrix. All we really need to do is do the next thing that's in front of us. Take the next step. The steps of the righteous are ordered, said Yeshua. The steps of the righteous, right standing. Those standing in the matrix, standing in love, standing connected to the musical mathematical matrix of the kingdom of heaven. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, I said earlier. Then all else comes to you out of a loving, heartfelt intention articulated in prayer. That's certainty. Everything else is an illusion. The intoxication largely comes from these false attachments to things that are not real, like fear, false evidence appearing real. So look at what's going to happen. It's an instantaneous response of the system to the applied force. When we start to sing, when the 144,000 start to sing, when Changa Rinpoche leads the planned right now 81-minute global prayer, the Love Water Experiment, on Sunday, June 21st, 2009, and all of the waters receive not just 144,000 voices on Jonathan Goldman's donated temple online right now at H2O.org, and those 144,000 voices chanting in 528 together with one heartfelt loving intent to transform this planet back to the Garden of Eden that it is, and we, powerful co-creator, evolve into this concept of brotherhood and sisterhood and the global villagers that choose peace over war, choose miraculous healing over chemical, petrochemical, pharmaceutical intoxication, and choose sustainability and economic prosperity instead of this devastating poverty. It's real simple, the solution. Those voices are going to come forth, get carried out. And they're going to be joined by thousands and hundreds of thousands of people at least 9 other venues. And there's going to be venues all over the world because people, by your support, your prayers, and your actualization, delivering this message, this transmission of this message, beyond hope. This is certainty, conviction, fulfilling the destiny. Then the joining of all those other voices, hundreds of thousands at all those 9 venues, all get placed into the sound system and gets channeled and broadcast. How? Using Tesla technology. Into where? The living water. All of the waters globally, the oceans, are going to start to resonate with humanity's heartfelt loving intent to create a love potion, a homeopathic vibrating with love. And as a result of that body of water, you know the effect of the lunar cycles and the power of the oceans, and you know surgeons, the smart ones, don't do surgical invasive procedures during a full moon. Why? Because there's a tremendous connection between your body water, 80% of you triune God, connected to the oceans and the flow. And so what's going to happen is that everyone's body water is going to start to resonate. It's the concept simple of entrainment. What does that mean? Entrainment. where you take, let's say, a dozen women, you send them to a freshman dormitory, live together for a couple months and synchronize their menstrual cycles. They're in training. Or you take a room full of little cuckoo clocks and you all pendulums swinging at different times, and you bring in a grandfather clock with a huge, forceful pendulum, and then come back, and then all of a sudden the little pendulums are all swinging at the same rate, synchronized. That's entrainment. The little molecules of water in your body are likewise entrained to the oceans. Your body water is seawater. And when that water starts to resonate with love, solve the problem, it's going to happen for everybody's bodies. Nothing missing, nothing broken in the kingdom of heaven, said Jesus. There's no dis-ease in the musical mathematical matrix of perfection. When you seek that first and harmonize with that, and you sing that and resonate that, and all the oceans of the world vibrate at that, what do you think is going to happen to people's heart chakras when we start to sing? It's going to spin correctly. All the imbalances, all that cross my heart, hope to die, all the heart blockages are going to start to come off. And the only people who are going to have a real problem with that are either aliens or those who are really demonically blocked in their love connection. And that's really what it's about. That's the system that has a perfection beyond the reaches of the wildest imagination that we're going to engage by communing our voices, harmonizing our voices in love and positive intent.